couple of stories to follow in this one, Matt. That guy going from the back of the field, that is Stephen Johnson. Contact on the opening lap of qualifying yesterday. It's one of those stacking scenarios. Zigged and zagged, and the cars made contact with Adam Bressington. Did some pretty significant steering damage to the Team Johnson Ford Mustang. So he starts from the back of the grid for the second time in 2 days. Andrew Fisher was penalised for that, for not following the race director's instructions by weaving during the qualifying there. So that's why he is starting from the back of the field as well.
Let's take a look at the grid though. Jason Gomersall finally broke through for his first pole position, the second closest margin in Touring Car Masters history yesterday. John Bowe alongside him, Eddie Abelnica and Ryan Hansford on the second row, Mark King and Cameron Telly on the third row, back to Bruce Williams, Sven Burkhardt, the two Adams, Garwood and Bressington on the fifth row.
Bressington was another one to carve through the field yesterday. Cameron Mason started yesterday's race from pole position, finished in the top 5, was very proud of his efforts. He started alongside Tony Karanfilowski. The Porsches are next. Bernie Stack is in there, Leo Tobin in the Ford Mustang, and the fast drivers coming from the back of the field will be Stephen Johnson and Andrew Fisher. So Jason Gomersall, his first pole, he qualified second 5 times in TCM before grabbing that.
He was sick of it, wasn't he?
He really was. He was so keen to finally grab the top spot. This guy had a terrific performance yesterday. Young guy from the Central Coast of New South Wales, Cameron Mason, Ryan Hansford. Now, we were talking about Ryan. He was the story of yesterday. Ran out of power steering in the qualifying session. Turned out it went in the race as well. Oh. So when we went down and saw them this morning, they were busy changing power steering pumps on the front of the Chev motor. Sits in front of the multi-spares, Holden Tirana.
Johnson towards the back of the field, so watch for him. There's Bob Wisely a bit further ahead, the number 7 Tirana, making his debut this year in the Touring Car Masters. It's a Tirana front row, as we saw it yesterday. It's a rolling start in Touring Car Masters, the thunder of these 25 cars, round 2 of this year's championship and race number 2.
And watch for Eddie Abelnica off the start, because the XB Falcon hardtop has got bigger capacity than the 3 cars around him, and it is a rocket ship in a straight line, Matt. So watch for the Melbourne's cheapest cars Falcon.
He's the lone Ford in the first 2 rows. Gomersall and Bowe, as it was in 2016. We swap sides and we go green here in race number 2 of the Touring Car Masters, down to turn number 1, and Gomersall will get the lead. He locks the brake for a split second, but will hold the lead through turn 1. We got some side-by-side action. He's going around there on the exit of his contact with Abelnica, and now King's involved. Big damage here on the straight.
That's an enormous crash. There must be a dozen cars involved. Sven Burkhardt's in the Porsche. Oh, look at that. It's a wrecking yard. And an expensive one at that. Huge damage to the front of the A9X. A couple of Porsches, Bernie Stack in the middle of that. Melinda Price is parked. Andrew Fisher, who started at the back of the field. Oh, man. Huge damage to Abelnica, who started 3rd. Mark King copped an enormous hit in the Chevy Camaro as well.
Race has been red flagged. There's King. We've got Stack in the middle of this. Melinda Price. And we thought that lock-up from Gomersall's car, that's just cold tyres going through. He looped it on his own. As he corrected, it's come back in front of the entire field. And even John Bowe caught in this. This is exactly like we saw in race number 3 at Adelaide earlier this year. It's
Tony Karanfilowski with big damage. This car was due a freshen up. It's going to happen quicker than before. Sven Burkhardt has got a very, very big hit in the left rear corner of the number 90 Porsche. So race suspended. Seen this a few times this year in various categories, haven't we? Fortunately, Jason getting out. But you're right, Matt. He went through turn 1 nicely. Turn 2 had a big slide on the exit, couldn't correct it, and the car just spun in front of the pack. Bowe's got big damage. So leading contenders out. Ryan Hansford scored first, but it's probably not the story we need to focus on at the moment.
Gomersall out of the car. The Matt Stone prepared Tirana. Creases on his car, same to John Bowe. There's Sven Burkhardt's number 90 Porsche against the old pit wall. It's Tony Kay walking along.
One of the shortest guys in the paddock against one of the tallest. So here's the start. So keep an eye on Gomersall in the Peter Brock lookalike Tirana on the left of screen, running down into turn 1. So he just grabbed a brake, went in a little bit hot. Now he turns in for turn 2. Watch the car slide. So it slides, takes nowhere to go, and it was the old NASCAR-style chain reaction behind as everyone stepped up. Wow. That 38 Porsche absolutely drilled probably the Falcon in front.
The luckiest one out of that was probably Rowan Little.
Yeah.
Pulling to the left-hand side. Here's the view from Ryan Hansford, who went green. got a nice start. In fact, we've got a better start than Bow ahead, but nowhere to go for the multi-spares Tirana. Now watch the first Tirana ahead in shot. He's locked the brake. And watch him correct the car through here. This will be a piece of television history right here for Hansford. Oh, man.
Oh, he was lucky. He was really lucky to avoid that. Heads-up driving from Ryan. Well, that shows the initial point of the spin. And it's probably a question of who got through as much as who didn't. There's going to be a lot of walking wounded at the back of that. And just as the field spun, it just all stacked up. Check the green Porsche there. Just going side by side, because he was all good to this point, but everyone stacks up. He tries to get the hole through the middle and finds himself with nowhere to go. And then crunch. A big hit, I think, into Blue Cannon's forward.
Oh, straight into Abelnika goes Gomersall. Bow got hit twice at the end. King, the big loser out of this.
Gomersall's car is going to be very, very messy. The initial hit with Bow wasn't great, but that secondary contact, Matt, with Mark King was enormous. Huge impact.
So there he goes, cold tyres, just spinning himself around. He tried to correct it.
He was so close to catching that, but it had the tank slapper, as you said, and by then he was a passenger, and the rest of the field had absolutely nowhere to go. And that was a big impact. So the initial impact was with Eddie Abelnika, who's copped huge damage on the right front. But watch this hit. That's massive.
Yikes.
That is absolutely huge.
If the first one didn't wreck it, the second one finished it off completely. And there was Bow trying to just get away from the scene of the crime.
And I don't think there's anything you can do about this. It's not like it's a driver standards issue. It's not a quality of driving problem. It was a mistake, a slide that stacked the field up, and they ran into turn 2 and the old start-finish line here at Winton, and a whole bunch of cars had nowhere to go.
Look at Melinda Price pulling the car up on her return to national level motor racing. I don't think there's a mark on that car.
So I think she was very, very lucky.
Let's go to pit lane with Cam.
Yeah, guys, a lot going on down here, as I can imagine. Todd Hazelwood, you've been on the radio to your man out there, Jason Gomersall. Got his first ever pole, but it's all for nothing now.
Oh, that's the beauty of motorsport, the highs and lows of it. That's unfortunately what happens. You know, fortunately, Jason's okay. The poor little Tirana, we've got a little bit of work to do, but we'll make sure we get it out for race 2. But you know, as you said, he did a stellar job yesterday. He got his maiden pole position, and now we just have to start from the back in race 2, and hopefully we can get it out there.
All right, looks like the cars are all being sent back to the lane. I'm going to try and sneak through really quickly. Hold on 2 seconds. We're just going to sneak past and see if I can jump in with Ryan Hansford very quickly before he goes. Ryan, before you go, I'm just going to duck in with you, mate. I know you love a camera, so we'll have a quick chat with you. I saw you the other night. Where's this? Grab that down for me. Mate, that must have been a wild old seat where you were. You're very lucky to get through that one.
Yeah, mate, I didn't really know which way to go there for a little while, and then saw Gomo coming back to the left, so I just stuck it right. Thank God we got out of it. It's pretty hectic. Hopefully all the boys are all right. The cars are a bit of a mess, I've heard. So.
Oh, mate, as I said, we sat on board with you in that one. I guess what was basically going through your head, just go for the gap?
Well, mate, I think I got a really good start, and then I wasn't sure what Eddie beside me was going to do, so I actually gave him some room and just tried to get through that first corner, did that, and then all that happened ahead. So I saw it all happening, and I was just waiting to see which way to go. I made the right choice.
Thanks, Ryan.
Cheers.
Feel the adrenaline coming out of Ryan Hansford, and rightly so too. There's a big moment during that race. It's been called. The car's heading back into the pits right now. And a shame, because it was building to be something quite spectacular in race number 2 this morning.
And Ryan will be shaking just for avoiding that, as he said to Cam, and well done, Cam, for grabbing that. He'll be shaking just for having avoided damage, because there's a lot of beaten up race cars, including John Bow. So the cleanup continues. Good to hear that Todd Hazelwood was on the radio to Jason Gomersall and talking to him, because that would have rattled his cage a little bit, that impact. Probably the secondary hit, as I said before, with Mark King would have done a lot of the damage to that car. Tony Karamfalowski's Mustang looks very, very second-hand.
He had an incident here last week with Rusty French that did a similar sort of damage at the same corner. Look at the damage to Burkhardt's Porsche on the left-hand side. We probably won't see that back today. Here's a replay. I'll take you through them all from what we captured at Winton Motor Raceway. So it all started down here with Gomersall locking the brakes on the big mate Tirana. Then the car snapped sideways. He tried to correct it, and right in front of the group, Abelnika first on the scene of the crime, and cars going everywhere.
Bruce Williams got through, Bressington got through, but some of them seriously didn't. Bernie Stack's impact was very significant in that bright green Porsche. And this is what Ryan Hansford was just telling Cam about. You saw it happening in front. You would have seen a Tirana pointing the wrong way right about now. Go right, mate, go right, which he does. Really good evasive action. This should show it all unfold. So Andrew Fisher was involved in that. Watch the blue Valiant Pacer as well, just at the top of the shot. So Cameron Tilley, the Anglomoil car, was caught up in that turn 1 crash at the Adelaide 500 in race 3 and said, I just cannot afford to have more damage in my car, especially with Darwin only a month away. So he was really fortunate to get through.
Wayne Mercer, left-hand side as well here. He ran it a mile away, stacks on, avoids the incident.
Mark King's impact was enormous, Matt.
Yeah.
Just enormous. Andrew Fisher copped a hit. That was Graham Alexander locking a break in the HT GTS Monaro. This is the start of it. Just a big slide coming out of turn 2 for Jason Gomersall. So he went in too deep into turn 1. You could see him grab a break. So the car was probably understeering at turn 1. Maybe used a bit of right foot to try and straighten the car on the exit of 2.
Oh, man. King just like a pinball, wasn't he?
Absolutely brutal.
And then you see the Porsche on the left-hand side. We'll see it's a rear engine cast too, so there'll be more than just panel damage to that car.
There'll be a few twisted chassis amongst that lot as well, I fear. John Bow was involved too. He got the curb at turn 2 and was checked up a little bit, and Abel Nika was trying to go through on him. It probably actually saved Bowie from any more damage than he actually copped in the Wilson security car. Here's the initial impact. It's huge damage that would have torn the corner out of Abel Nika's car. There'll be massive suspension damage and structural damage under the corner of that. These cars are very, very strong. We should emphasise that even though they're classic muscle cars, Matt, they run absolutely bang up to date safety standards. So the seat, the harnesses, the hands device, of course, which is mandatory, but the safety cages in these cars are current spec modern technology roll cages. They're built to similar strength as the Virgin Australia supercars.
There's the damage to all those cars. They've gone back into the pits right now. The race has been cancelled here. Race 2 of Touring Car Masters. Let's go down to pit lane with Greg Rust.
And Matt, someone watching on and wincing at the damage to some of those beautiful cars was Dick Johnson. But maybe the little silver lining here is the fact that Stevie unfortunately was out of 24, but that gave him a good view of what was happening up front.
Well, not really, actually. The guys here in the pits gave him a warning on the radio saying, get out of it, there's a big shunt. And otherwise they can't see because it's a really blind spot when you come around through there. And that's why so many cars ended up in the big pile. So fortunately, he picked the right side and ended up getting away with it. Luck, mate, hasn't been with us all this weekend and with the TCM car, but I suppose it's all caught up now.
Well, foot in both camps. Let's talk about what a great day it was yesterday for both Scotty McLaughlin. His whips off to the side of us here, good to go for another big day of racing, and championship leader Fabian Coulthard as well. Just 10 points between these guys going into today. Yeah,
it's something we haven't seen for a long, long time, isn't it? But look, the cars are going fantastic. The boys are doing a great job, obviously, and both Fabs and Scotty are doing the job for us. So let's hope it just continues, mate, I can assure you.
It's nice to see you smiling, and I can sense the buzz in the whole race team at the moment. He's got great confidence going into today, Scotty, doesn't he?
Well, he does. You know, around here is all about qualifying too, you know, because it's very difficult to pass, even though you see some passing manoeuvres, and strategy, obviously, in the next race is going to play a big part. So let's hope they get all that sort of stuff together.
Hope it's a good day for you. Thanks, DJ.
Me too.
They're a powerhouse team, aren't they, at the moment? Winners again yesterday in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. Race has been called here in the Touring Car Masters, but we get one more later on here this morning. The action will continue later on this afternoon, but next weekend, motorsport heaven. It's time to strap in because the Monaco Grand Prix is coming up next week.